Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bulls Media Day continues throughout Day 4, and we have two new interviews to discuss and two players that need a bounce back year for the Chicago Bulls for anybody to be considering them as future assets. Now, these two have said some good things, some things were completely ignored, and there were also a bunch of things, in my opinion, that is very interesting leading towards the future of the season for this season of the Chicago Bulls. So without further ado, let's talk about Day 4 of the Chicago Bulls Media Day. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aiden Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls video in relation to Day 4 of the Media Day with two brand new interviews to discuss from both players that could be considered gone if they do not impress this season. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aiden Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below, do you think either of these two players will impress for the Chicago Bulls, and do you see a future for either of them on this Bulls team? Despite the interviews today, of course, the two players I'm going to be discussing will be Otto Porter Jr. and Tomas Satoransky. These two players, in my opinion, most people want traded, to be honest. Most people want them out of this team. Some people have seen some very bad things in terms of the way that some of these players have been handling themselves. However, can they prove people wrong this year? Well, first things first, let's talk about Otto Porter. This video is going to be a little bit shorter, but we discussed Otto Porter because he was the first interview of that day, and pretty much the whole basis of his interview was to get better and to stay healthy, to show the Bulls fans, Bulls players, everybody around the Bulls organization what player he can be. He feels like that we haven't really been given a chance to see what he's all about, and that is true. We haven't been given enough time to see what he's all about because he's been injured for so long. And the thing about injuries within this team is that it can really define a player. And Otto Porter, beyond maybe even the first year of Chicago, but even beyond then on the Wizards, was a dude that you could rely on to play games. Was very healthy, played majority of the games, around 70 games per season. He was doing great for the Wizards, and then unfortunately things took a bad turn with the Chicago Bulls. So obviously there is still a little bit of faith that I have in him to get healthy, but we just don't know what to expect from Otto Porter. He did have two injuries last year. He had an injury the year before. The fact of the matter is we need the best out of Otto Porter because he's a player that will be used in this rotation. He'll be a player that can knock down a three, that can play defense, and the main focus on him was to be a modern professional, which is something that he said. He wanted to be a professional. He wanted to show the rookie Patrick Williams what it'd be like to be a professional. And he also talked about how the rehab of his foot, how he feels very, very strong. And he wants to prove to people what type of player that he really is. And that is the whole gist of his interview. Obviously, massive praise from Patrick Williams once again from Otto Porter Jr. There's not been one person that has not given massive praise to this rookie. So we have a lot to look forward to this season, in my opinion. And Otto Porter, a person that's in his position, it looks like he's ready. It looks like he's ready. It looks like he's ready to play. Now, everything that's happened to him off the court, I'm not going to discuss. But again, if you're going to be talking about modern professionalism, I think you need to look at yourself in the mirror, Otto, because what you did during this pandemic is not the best situation to put yourself in as a modern professional. That's not my concern with Otto Porter, to be honest. My concern with Otto Porter is what he does on the court. And what he does on the court matters to me more than what he does off the court. I mean, Dennis Rodman was the prime example of just an absolute party animal off the court. But on the court, he did his thing. And I think that's where I'm not comparing Dennis Rodman to Otto Porter. I'm just saying that Otto Porter's off the court lifestyle means nothing to me unless it affects his on-court abilities. And I hope that it doesn't, and it looks like it won't. He seems to be ready. Let's see if he is. Next up, let's go and talk about Tomas Satoransky, the point guard, 6'7", I believe. He's talked about how he went home to his country, how he was there for 6 months. He couldn't come back to the United States, I believe, at the time. He was working out with his former side. in his country, and obviously just playing over there. He worked on his jump shooting. I think the most important thing about Tomas Satoransky's interview was that he was willing to give that point guard role to Coby White. Now, obviously, Coby White took that role. It wasn't necessarily given to him. He had to work very hard for that point guard role. But it looks like Tomas Satoransky is very, very clear and understanding that Coby White will be the main point guard this season, will be starting in the point guard position this year. I think that's good because I think Tomas Satoransky is a good bench player for us. I think he can be a good bench player for us if he is more aggressive, if he can shoot over people with his size, and he shows us that he can be a very good point guard in this league. I think there'd be nothing better to have him on the bench. But again, most people want Satoransky traded, and the reason why is he has not proven to be a good starting point guard. And for the majority of the season, he was that starting point guard, and he just was not that good at it. So I hope that he can improve his season of last year off of the bench this year. And off the bench this year, if he can improve himself, then I think he could be a good bench player for this Bulls team. Again, he is getting overpaid for where he's playing, but hopefully he can step it up because we need that. We're going to need Satoransky. But the acceptance of giving Coby White that role, saying Coby White has developed into a very good point guard, has matured over the year, has matured and become a better player, more vocal, all these things Satoransky said about Coby White, I think is a big tick because at the end of the day, that's a position that is wide open for this team, the point guard position. Coby White has it on lock at the moment, and if he continues to perform last year the way he did this year, then hands down he's going to have it the whole year. But we wait and see. And also, once again, big praise to Patrick Williams. Again, I think Satoransky said probably the best thing that I've seen from everybody that was talking about Patrick Williams, saying that within no time, this player's going to be one of the better players in the league. That's incredible stuff Satoransky is giving to Patrick Williams. Again, I'm not sure if he truly meant it or if he was just giving a regular answer, but that's an expectation that I think we all have. We want Patrick Williams to be one of the better players in the league. And the fact that Satoransky said that kind of gives you an indication of just how much of an impression that Patrick Williams is putting onto these players. Again, working hard is the most important thing on this team. And if you've seen our schedule, which I will make a video about later, our schedule is absolutely brutal. So the fact is, people like Otto Porter, we're going to need to stay healthy. People like Satoransky, we're going to need to be more aggressive. And Patrick Williams needs to contribute. So we need all these things if we're going to have a chance against some of the bigger teams in this calendar year, which December and January is going to be a brutal few months for us. So we wait and see. We get prepared. The regular season is still very, very close now. We can touch it now. It's getting that close. And media day, this is the type of situation where the players that need to have a bounce back year needs to bounce back. We can't be waiting anymore for the likes of Otto Porter to have a good year or stay healthy. We can't be waiting anymore for Satoransky to become more aggressive. We need to have these things now. These people need to be more confident. These people need to bring back the game that we all can see, but there's no point in seeing it if it's not there on a nightly basis. We need some consistency and some aggressiveness, and of course the health of these players. So that is going to end day 4 of the media camp. These are the 2 players that I believe were the only ones that talked today. We still have more, I believe. I'm not sure how much more we have. I'm sure they're going to talk with Denzel Valentine, obviously re-signing with the Bulls, and more. There's going to be more things to discuss. But those are the 2 that discussed today. We got another Bulls video coming on later. Hopefully it will be today. If not, it'll be very early tomorrow. Discussing the calendar. I'm going to give you the teams that we'll be versing in December and January. And of course, we're going to see just exactly how brutal this can be, because it seems to be very brutal just looking at it from a fan's perspective. But thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aiden Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Take care and peace.